Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my living room. Very similar, actually similar, exact same location as the last video where I talked about how things went in Rocky Mount. This video I'm going to talk about the statistics from Rocky Mount, but more specifically the importance of keeping statistics when you play golf and learning from that. But before we go any further, got to give a shout out to Scentbird because they've sponsored this video. Very, very fortunate that they reached out to me and they like what I do. They want to have me smelling good and have you guys smelling good. So they've sponsored this video. I'll explain a little bit more about Scentbird a little bit later before we go to the golf course. But right now, let's dive into these stats. A couple years ago, I uploaded a video about keeping statistics and I uploaded my spreadsheet. I'll upload this spreadsheet as it's a little bit different. I've expanded it a little bit more to be very in line with the PGA Tour's stats. Basically what I've changed is I used to keep them in 50-yard increments, 175 to 125, 125 to 175, 175 to 225, and then 225 and above. Now I'm keeping my statistics in 25-yard increments just to really narrow in on how I'm performing from various yardages throughout a round of golf. I'm just gonna briefly go through, so I keep scores, if I hit the fairway, where I missed the fairway, greens and regulations from the rough, scoring from the rough, then my percentage of greens, where I miss it left, right, short, long, scrambling, then I keep my sand stats, how I'm doing up and down sands, putts, 3 putts, I keep track of 3 putts, then birdies, my birdie conversion rate, and bogeys, doubles, my par 3, 4, and 5 scoring, and then here we go into the yardages. So 225 plus, I do the percentage, what percentage of greens I hit from that yardage, the proximity, the average proximity to the hole from that yardage, and then my scoring. So I do this all the way down to inside 50 yards. And then the last little thing is I keep my notes from the last video. Basically the notes are a breakdown of the dots, why there's a dot, why I got in my own way. On my score sheet, I keep track of the dots, the mental mistakes, and then my putts. And then on the pin sheet, the way that I keep track of yardages and proximities, if I hit the fairway, check mark. If I miss the fairway, left or right, then I write my yardage that I have for that second shot. And then if I hit the green, I just pace off how long my putt is and I'll write that on the green. And if I miss the green, I write underneath where I missed it, short, right, long, left. So very, very easy. And then when I go back through the statistics, I just cross off the hole, the green, as I've entered it in here. So I have a way of knowing that I got all 18 holes in here. But let's break down these stats. I have this spreadsheet set to average it out. So these are my first 3 competitive rounds. So we're just gonna look at this particular tournament. And then as my year goes on, obviously this just averages out the year. Scoring average of 75, that's crap. I hit 69% of my fairways, that's good. This tells me that when it comes to my work, I just need to keep maintaining how I'm hitting it off the tee, but also be cognizant of where I'm missing it. I'm missing a lot of fairways right, which is good. I have a one-way miss, that's really good. My green regulations from the rough is 55%. That's okay, could be better, but a little bit of that is due in large part to a couple times I hit it into trees. So that was 2 double bogeys as well. So that's gonna really bring the average down. Next statistic is a really important one, scoring from the rough. I'm only 1 over par on average when I miss a fairway. So someone made a comment, don't worry about the statistics, it's about just score. Well, you need to know how to work and what needs to be done to get the score tight. And I can look at this and be like, oh man, I hit a couple balls in the trees, like I'm losing shots off the tee. But really I'm not. I'm losing 1 shot around off the tee. That is very make-upable with a par 5 or just hitting a close wedge. So that's good. My greens and regulations, 60%, really bad in the second round, 50%. I get to break down where I'm missing my greens, and I'm missing an average of 5 greens around short. A lot of that was, like I had noted, hitting heavy long irons. And obviously if you hit in the trees, you chip out. So this gives me an indication of what I need to work on as well. Just those long irons. Scrambling, that's not good. 38% of scrambling, So this is really eye-opening, and because I've been saying my short game has been really tight lately, and I feel very good about my short game, but look, statistically, it's not. So this opens my eyes that I need to spend more time on my short game. Given the fact that the greens were very firm, I've been hitting a lot. I've been really good with my short game with not having to play a lot of release, just kind of drop and stop. This lets me know that my short game, when it comes to playing some bounce, playing some roll, I need to work on that. So that's one thing that will be in my plan to work on when we head out to the golf course. Putts per round, 32.3. That is obviously 3 putts too many a round. Averaging just over 1 3-putt a round. That was due in large part to 3 in the final round. Again, a little bit eye-opening there, but a little bit of that is, if you look at my scrambling percentage, 38.3%, I wasn't chipping it close. Chip it a little bit closer, make 2 or 3 more up and downs. There's your potential 3 putts around, getting you in that 28 to 29 average of putts. Here are some strong things. 3 birdies around, that's a pretty good clip. Obviously, the more birdies, the better. My birdie conversion rate, though, is 26.7%. 1 of every 4 greens I hit. This is a positive to take away. Bogeys, 5 per round. That ties back into the short game. Obviously, that, not getting up and down. Where you look at a unique case, this particular tournament, I wasn't hitting it in bad positions. I wasn't giving myself short side or really tough up and downs. I just wasn't managing the firmness of these greens properly. So I know exactly what I need to work on. This isn't something where my scrambling was poor. I made a lot of bogeys around because I was giving myself impossible up and downs time after time. That wasn't the case. And then here I can break into zones, the yardages. The longer shots, 225 and above, 12% of those greens. Not very good, but when it comes to scoring, I'm not even a stroke over par from that zone. So that's not terrible. The next 200 to 225, 50% of my greens. Proximity, 44 feet. Scoring, 1 over par. Again, that's more in large part to the fact that I was missing greens from that and not getting up and down. 175 to 200 yards, 2/3. My proximity, though, was 14 feet. That's really good from 175 to 200 yards. That shows me that that's a range, 8 iron, 7 iron, 6 iron, that I'm really doing well with. So that's something when it comes to the maintenance. Keep on that, keep maintaining that. But the longer clubs need the work. So again, we'll look at that when we get to the course. 150 to 175, same thing, 2/3, not bad. Proximity, 14.5 feet, really good. Scoring is under par from that range. Basically, 9 iron to 6 iron, I'm really confident with, and that's huge. So that just tells me keep maintaining that. You have a confidence with that, trust that. Then we go 125 to 150. Drops a little bit, 63.9%. Proximity, when I do hit the greens, 17.5 feet, 3rd over par range where you'd like to be, a 3rd under par. 100 to 125, I didn't have a lot of those, but when I did miss the green. I didn't hit a single green. I think I only had 2 in the 3 rounds from that range. So then 75 to 100, 50%. These are the ranges I need to work on. Basically the long end of the bag, fabricated, not quite full lob wedges. Those are things I need to work on because those are the shots where I do get steep and my distance control gets really weak. And that is one thing. Like my proximity was 15 feet from 75 to 100 yards. That's too much. You really need to get it closer. And then this next range is really eye-opening, 50 to 75 yards, 100%, didn't miss a green, but my proximity was 23 feet. So clearly my lob wedge is something that needs a lot of work when it comes to distance control. So we can work on that at the range when we get out there later today. Inside 50 yards, 100% again, 16 feet. That again was due in large part to not really knowing or being comfortable with the firmness of the greens, still under par from that range. That's the breakdown of this tournament. This is my average so far from 3 rounds of golf, but it's very apparent where I need to work on my game. A little bit of mental stuff, but that is more trust than it is confidence or fear, or negative self-talk or anything like that. It's a trust thing. Maybe it's because I haven't been able to hit a lot of long irons in this build up to tournament golf because it is something that has hurt my arm the most. The lob wedge stuff, I think I've just been focusing on the rhythm and doing drills as opposed to really dialing in my wedges to targets. So those are the two areas that I really, really need to work on when we go to the range. So let's go to the range and work on these areas. I can tell you how I'm gonna work on these areas. So before we go to the range, I do wanna talk about the sponsor of this video, Scentbird. I'm a married man, I'm 35 years old. I sweat a lot, I travel a lot, I get stinky. I mean, I like cologne. Kelly likes my cologne. She buys cologne for me, but it's expensive. And with traveling, it's just not practical. The bigger things, coming in and out of the car all the time. This little guy from Scentbird is actually amazing and perfect. It's 30-day supply of brand name cologne, like really good stuff. You don't have to hunt through Marshalls to try to find discounted name brand cologne. So Scentbird, they sent me a few here. We've got Tommy Bahama, Kenneth Cole Black Bold. Kelly really likes that one. They do come in this really sweet velvet bag here. And this one is Burberry Brit Splash. This is really great because now I can leave one in the car. So when I leave the golf course and have to go into public or come home to my wife, I can actually put a little spray on and not smell like sweaty sunscreen. I can actually smell nice. It's nice. I like having a variety of scents because again, when you buy one, you spend 60, 70, 80 bucks on one, you're gonna smell like that all the time. Whereas this, it's like, I don't wanna wear the same hat every day. Don't wanna wear the same cologne every day. So this is a really cool thing Scentbird has. Thank you very much to Scentbird for sending me some colognes, keeping me smelling good, keeping Kelly happy. I forgot to ask for perfume for her though. So hopefully Kelly doesn't watch this video and I can surprise her with some nice perfume from Scentbird because I kind of forgot. And that's not a good husband. There is a code below if you want to test out Scentbird, 30% off. So it's basically $10 for 30 days supply of cologne. Smell good for your lady, for the cute cart girl at the golf course, or the girl that works in the pro shop. So Scentbird, thank you very much for sponsoring this video and keeping me smelling like money. But don't forget, use the promo code. It's linked below. I've linked these below too. It's golf30 for 30% off your Scentbird purchase. $10 for 30 days of cologne. Pretty cool. So let's go to the golf course and get into some of this work. At the back of the range here at Southampton, and if you haven't seen my video about this range, go check it out. But if you have, you'd be familiar with all that's going on out there. And I got a bunch of targets here. Do a little drone shot, bing, and then it's gonna show you all the yardages. But what I'm gonna do to really work on my distance control from these yardages, I'm basically gonna climb the ladder of all of these posts. I gotta hit every single post. That's my drill right now. So I could be out here for a long time or a short time, but it's really gonna force me to spend time getting in a groove, getting focused on a target, and handling my business, handling my technique on top of that, and climb this ladder to help me get more tight from various yardages. Done 3 of the 8 targets, and it's pretty much punishment with this heat, but it's necessary. And I think I've finally kind of realized what had been going on. Really getting way too much upper body into it, arms into it. And I think after a couple heavy shots, you try to shallow it out with the arms, and I think that's where the face would change, the distance control would change, because you'd pull it, you'd flail it open or whatever. Lower body was really inactive in hitting these shots, and once I've really narrowed in that focus, I'm starting to just drop them the same distance every time. So that's really key. It's huge. So I think that's what I need to keep working on, and it's probably the same problem with the long irons, because again, trying to make sure I don't get too steep or shallow it out. I probably try to do it with the arms. Lower body freezes up, and the upper body goes, and you chunk it. Gonna continue, gonna hit the rest of these. Got 5 more posts to go and then work on the long irons with that thought in mind. That is basically using the statistics to open your eyes to what you need to work on. There is a good balance between how you feel out there, how you feel about your game, and the stats. Either you don't go all one way where you're just, oh, things feel good, but you're neglecting things because you're not paying attention to stats, or you go the other end where you're just so stat focused that you neglect that you're actually probably doing really good in certain areas, but the numbers may be a little lower than you want, so you just kind of neglect that. So it's about a balance of being cognizant of your statistics and knowing what areas need to improve, but also being aware of what's working, even though the numbers may be a little lower than what you want them to be. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned a little bit about this. Again, thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. I've got that all linked below, so the clones I got are linked below. Golf 30 for 30% off, and I've also linked a Google document if you want to download my spreadsheet and start tracking your own stats. So give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn that bell on, and we'll see you next week.